All right, sweet. So, last time we started with a drawing of one of my favorite Castlevania characters, Simon Belmont. And so what I wanted to do was, just kind of continue the trend. So today I was going to draw, and I apologize for trains in the background because they're just coming through on the regular. But today I wanted to draw somebody from Castlevania 3, which is a game that I mentioned last time, which is what the Netflix series is currently based on, the Castlevania Netflix series. Though this character isn't in the series, but so his name is Grant Dynasty, and he is a pirate, which I think is super fun. So I'm scooching this out of the way. So yeah, so I'm gonna start with Grant here. So get him lined up, and so he's a real wiry kind of guy. So we're gonna put him sort of down here, and I want to put him into like this sort of crouching thing. So again, just like I did last time, I'm gonna start with like my head here. And so now I'm gonna lay out his body. So he's gonna do some kind of like really crazy sort of wiry thing here. So I'm gonna have him sort of holding his, he also throws knives. It's like his primary thing. So we'll put this over here. And so again, just like I did last time, just laying out sort of the structure here. So his body's going to be a little foreshortened, of course, again, right? So right through here, it's got a waist, sort of foreshortened thigh. Actually, it's probably more like this. And then this is his foot. So again, you can see how I'm correcting as I go, realizing, where I've made mistakes and just in how I should lay this out. So yeah, there's that damn train again. So yeah, so moving a little bit quicker here. So getting into so his head looks a little big actually for what I've laid out on the body. So let's trim this up. Okay, and then his shoulders coming around here. So his elbow actually wound up in a weird sort of place. So let's correct that real quick. Really the only reason to sort of correct these things as you go, so I don't confuse myself. But yeah, I think we're at a spot. This actually still isn't quite right. His thigh is like just a little on the long side. This is always the hardest part, is just what foreshortening should look like as you get into this. So if a limb is like facing towards you, and it's going away, the thigh is going to look shorter than it is, and things like that. So, but I think this is good. Try to move this kind of quickly, so we can get into something more fun here pretty soon. So, start by laying out the face. So again, a figure's eyes tend to be sort of in the middle here of the head, and then you get, I'm not going to give him just a smiley face, but you get the idea. So we start putting some meat on the bones, so to speak. So one thing I do want to do is I want to kind of give him like a stereotypical pirate bandana. And we're just going to go to town here. So again, putting meat on the bones. So this guy's really wiry, right? So he's gonna be really thin. He's not gonna be this muscle bound sort of glute that like Simon is. I still kind of didn't get this right. This really should be like a straight. And again, this is one of those characters I used to draw when I was a kid. I had a lot of fun drawing Grant because his nature sort of lent itself, just because he's this wiry, kind of crazy guy. He lent himself to some of the more, extreme comic booky poses. So he's doing this already, this really bendy thing that in real life a lot of people would feel quite a lot of pain doing. So go in here. So like I said, just kind of working, putting meat on the bone. And really looking at this, look here, let's get his waist would be a little bit above here. So again, just trying to work like really general to specific, as always. So his waist is actually a little narrow. He's a skinny guy, but he's not quite that skinny. Gonna do that, just gonna correct as we go. Okay. So now his shoulder is actually shaping up to be a little bit too high from what I originally laid out. Shoulder really should be more like around here. And then his forearm should actually be a little bit longer. Actually, that's too far out. Here we go, that's better. So again, it's just laying the points out, looking at them, refining them, moving along. So let's get this really lanky guy, right? So again, this bicep. Okay. Let's come back down to the legs. The dreaded legs with the foreshortening I was just talking about, so. Is this 100% right? No. But it's right enough for just a quick little drawing. We'll get this in here. And so now I can see I went way too far on where his knee should land. He's gonna be doing like one of these things where like his knee's on the ground sort of deal. So let's correct that. And like his foot would kind of be actually up back here, right? Cool. So just starting to suggest things. So now, and this is what sucks about drawing, but I should have probably put him just a little bit further over here, but it's totally fine. That's where we can do something fun, like, I mentioned before that he has like little knives that he throws in the game. So maybe he has one of these knives. I was gonna have him holding like 3 knives originally. But maybe he's only got 1 knife now. Maybe he's like thrown a couple more, so we could do something like this. So we could do get my angles right. Maybe he's thrown these guys. That's what's kind of fun about the permanence of the drawing, right? Is, you know, I can't just select this and move it over like I would in Illustrator or something like that. I actually have to work with it, so maybe it's more fun this way, who knows. Okay, cool. So we got this sort of like wiry frame built out, right? So now what I want to do is I want to come in and start working. I'm going to work his face a little bit. So he's actually got like way too much meat on his bones. He's actually this, you know, like I said, he's really gaunt. So let's work him. Let's exaggerate him a little bit here. Let's get this going. Again, he's a video game character. We can exaggerate, you know, where cheekbones would be, all that sort of stuff. And then, since he's a pirate, I'm going to give him an eye patch, naturally. So go over his right eye. Let's go like this. And so now, just so I can start thinking about it, let's delete that. And then he's a pirate that is, you know, real squinty eye, right? So I have one of these. So probably a little too open. I mean, pirate's eye ought to be like barely open, right? And then let's give him kind of like a long nose. Just a long. And then he's got one of these like stereotypical pirate things. This chin's a little too big. Let me give him a little bushy chin hair there. All right. So that's pretty all right. So now he's got, give him his ears. And then let's do this bandana here. So it's on top, kind of raggedy, kind of whatever. Just so I can see it, let's look at this line. All right, cool. It looks like a little bit more like fabric. Got some weird folds in there. Okay. And then I feel like for some reason you gotta be having like a vest, like a typical pirate vest. So let's give him one of those guys. And kind of flowing open, right? There he is. Yeah, let's delete these pieces as we go. Cool. Getting a little something here. He's starting to take a little bit of shape. And let's say he's got like a, you know, he's a wiry, kind of, you know, got the rib cage. Of course, he's a pirate, so he's only wearing the vest. So he's a little gaunt, you know. And of course, his stuff's kind of tattered. You know, so maybe he's got like a hole in something. Yeah. So Supposed to be probably sitting up a little bit more on his arm there. Cool. And then let's go down to like a belt. It's like a big pirate belt. But it's not a fancy one. He's like low man on the totem pole on the ship. He's got this big belt. It's almost too big for him. So you can see I still kind of screwed up my angle on the on the quad here. So let's just correct that real quick. Let's go ahead and erase this a bit too. It's not sitting quite right, but... And then he should be wearing, kind of frayed pants, right? So he's got the really tight, sort of like short things going on. Again, he's kind of low man on the totem pole. He decided that it wasn't worth hunting for gold on a ship, that it was going to be better to go vampire hunting with Trevor Belmont. So that's what he's doing. All right, sweet. So now let's do this, and then he ought to have naturally a bunch of ring, like bracelets. Let's give him some of those guys. That actually makes me think he ought to have a big hoop earring. Cool. I forgot his eyebrows. Jeez, Matt. All right, so let's, start to clean out some of our skeletal lines. Come back through here. So it starts to take shape somewhat quickly. Not too bad. Okay. Oh, it doesn't need a big dot on your shoulder. And I'm doing a terrible job. So actually, I'm working with a softer lead that's a little bit darker, but the downside of that is it is softer, so it smears a bit more. That's okay. We'll clean this up. Not that big a deal. This is a 7B graphite pencil. So and let's give him these like little kind of booty shoe type things. Honestly blanking like on what pirates would wear. Like he doesn't want to be barefoot, right? We don't want to go that far. He's not an animal. Let's give him some kind of like wrappy kind of thing on his arms. All right, cool. So I think Grant's kind of shaping up here. Give him a little. Let's get some detail to these real quick. You can give it a little shine, right? I'm actually using really bad practice. I'm rusting my hand a lot, which is creating some of the excess graphite around here, but that's okay. Sweet. I think we got a good handle on Grant, so let's get into a little bit of inking here. So just like last time, I'm actually going to start in on his face. I don't think I started on Simon's face, but make sure my hands, you can see I'm getting graphite there. It's bad practice, it's bad form. I feel bad. So let's start with this little little goatee thing. Not goatee, but chin scruff. And then this is where we can come back in. This is always the fun part, but it's also more stressful. You know, obviously can't really erase Sharpie. Got that typical pirate sneer. But he is ready to hunt some vampires, man. That's a spot where I screwed up a little bit. His side patch turned out a little sharper than I anticipated, but that's okay. We'll lean into that here in a little bit. So he's gonna be gruff. So we'll make him feel a little bit more gruff when he gets more depth. That's sort of our next phase here. Let's go into skull cap. Let's make this into a little bit more of a knot. It's kind of like the way I used to draw Ninja Turtle knots. Okay. Let's go through here. This is where it can look a little tattered. I can start to mark this stuff up a little bit. Okay. This tries were a little thick there. And so I've actually like kind of turned his arm a little bit. Again, super awkwardly, but it's essentially a comic book drawing, so we can live with it. My college drawing profs would be not thrilled. Okay, so again, just kind of coming around here, filling this in. Cool. All right, so about a knee here. There's this. Cool. So Grant was in, like I said, Castlevania 3. And he was available as what was called a spirit helper. So in the game, you would you'd battle kind of particular creatures. And then once you beat them, they'd offer to join you. So Grant was actually at the top of a clock tower. He was really infuriating because you'd go to the top of the clock tower really only if you were going to go and get Grant. Because you went to the top of the clock tower, you fought the monster version of him, and he comes back to life or whatever. And then he offers to join you. And then you essentially have to work your way back down the entire clock tower with Grant. But he was a really fun character. So the other spirit helpers available were the ones that are actually in the Netflix series. So that's Sypha, who, it was a big kind of reveal at the end of the game if you beat Sypha. You can only have one spirit helper, by the way. And big reveal at the end of it that Sypha, who you thought was a dude the whole time, turned out to be a woman. And she, of course, she and Trevor Belmont, the hero, settle down together and all that stuff after the game. Which is always my favorite ending. It was more happy. But the ending with Grant, he just kind of was said thanks, have a nice life, sort of thing. And the last one was the other one that's in the Netflix series, and that's Alucard, which of course is Dracula's son. And Alucard was, his big power was that he could shoot fireballs from his cape, and he could turn into a bat. So you can fly around and do all kinds of crazy stuff. That's pretty cool. All right, sweet. So Grant is pretty well inked here, at least from a first pass. So I think he's looking all right here. So something I want to do. Sorry, while I look around and see if I have. Thought I had a Sharpie handy, like a fatter Sharpie, for some of the larger black areas, but I guess I don't. That's okay. So now what I want to do is I'm going to do just cruise back in here and do give him some depth. So just like we did last time. I come here and just sort of give some shadow. And this can be as detailed as I want it to be. But the nice thing about this softer graphite that I remembered is you can smear it. You can smooth out all of this. Let's go and do this. Lay down just a little bit of shadow at first. Here. And then this underside should be really dark. This is what I was part of what I was going to use for use a Sharpie on, but that's okay. So what I can do, I can use my finger, like I said. I can blend that a little bit. Just a little bit. Now, the thing with Bristol is, Bristol's a little bit more porous, I think. So, Bristol's the board that I'm drawing on, or the type of paper, rather. So it's a little bit more porous in some respects. I do feel like it accepts ink, like ink, gets down in there pretty quickly and can actually, in some spots, sort of bleed. But graphite sort of sits on the top. But sometimes behaves a little unpredictably in terms of just how much you can smear the graphite. Some more standard papers you'd be able to smear a little bit more, I feel like. And it's sort of a crapshoot with Bristol in terms of how much it'll actually smear. So let's do this one too. So this is his foot back here. All right. I still just kind of keep it super loosey-goosey at this stage, just jumping around, doing whatever I want to sort of give him the depth. He's kind of like a gnarly pirate dude, so his face ought to be a little bit more sort of sunken. And that's where I can cruise in here and do this, so you can get the idea that his muscles are extremely thin and just sort of sitting right on top of, or right underneath his skin, rather. Let's go ahead, because this is bothering me. That's not a big area. Let's ink in this. Let's ink in this. There's that train again. Cool. Give him just a little bit of depth on the bones here. Really haven't done much with this over here. Also, not particularly observing where my light source would be. So typically I'd try to establish where my light source is. So the easiest is straight up and down. It could be coming in from the side. You just got to play with the shadows on the face a little bit differently, or across the body, obviously. But typically a light source is a little bit easier if it's coming straight down, kind of messing with it, at least while you're just screwing around with initial figure drawing type stuff. But that's always an easy mistake to make, right? Is if you have a light source where one part's coming this way, one part's coming that way, a shadow falls on this side versus this side and all that kind of crazy stuff, so something to be mindful of if you're following along at home. All right, sweet. So this is, Grant's getting kind of close here, I think. So now we can add just some random striations. So he's like a dirty pirate, right? Nothing on him is particularly particularly clean. All right, I think he's feeling pretty good. So let's give him just a little bit of a plane, just a little bit of a surface, right? They'd be sitting on, so. And then, of course, just as I got done just saying, some shadow. All kinds of noise outside today. And so if the light isn't more intense, you know, it could be a little bit tighter to the form. I mean, it usually is, but be kind of loosey-goosey with it here, you know. Let's go ahead and mark off his plane. All right, sweet. So now, the fun thing is, though, as I was talking about Grant and his, you know, his various abilities, you know, he was a wiry guy, he was a pirate that jumped around. The fun thing is that he was also an acrobat, and that was what made him so much fun. And so he would climb around on stuff, you know, so he'd get to hard to get to things, and he'd jump onto a ceiling, and he would crawl around a thing on a ceiling to get like a power up or something like that. So in true Grant dedication, this should actually be upside down. So he's hanging from the ceiling. And then what I do is got a little tight there, but that's okay. Let's give it a little bit of... I always love that in the comics when they would really throw in the emphasis when they would like, not only was it in big block letters, but the part, like the bottom part of it was shaded. You knew the character like meant business. Yeah. So there you go. I think that's good. So again, this is Grant Dynasty from Castlevania 3, who is ordering you to donate. And what you're donating to, we are, I'm fundraising for Extra Life, which is a program that's benefiting Children's Miracle Network hospitals. So it's a gaming marathon. It's a both tabletop and console, PC, whatever, but also encouraging just sort of all kinds of different cultures. So and this is my contribution in terms of the video game / nerd culture. So if you like this, I'm going to try to do this at least once a week and just have fun drawing various characters. So hey, if you have a couple dollars and you'd be willing to donate and help out with an awesome cause, click the donate button right down there. And that's it. I'll see you next time.